There we go. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, so you guys couldn't hear the music for some reason. This is quite concerning. Don't mind me. I'm just telling people on Instagram that I'm live. Why does the desktop audio just not seem to work? What if I just outright remove it and replace it with an audio output capture? Because apparently that's all I can do. That does work. That's very interesting. Anyways, today I have a very, very fun little idea. See, we are going to have some fun. And we're going to capture this window. This one. Because, see, OLA England just released his Coffee with OLA with Rick Beato, and I think that it is so important to watch it that I am just going to I'm just gonna watch it. I'm gonna react to it. Shared something else on Discord, even though you've kind of already seen it, I guess. Okay, cool, thanks. Good music. Yeah, it's pretty fun. That artist is of the name Buckethead, if you fancy giving him a listen. He has like over 600 albums though, so you'll have a difficult time picking whichever one. Anywho, this is gonna be fun, cause I'm going to react to Rick Beato talking with Ola the Swede. I should probably retitle my live stream, huh? Save. Okay, cool. So now, can it save mid-live stream? It can save mid-live stream. Hello, the 4 people watching. Hey, we got 4 people in the stream on YouTube. That's really great. Thank you, guys. Share the stream around with everyone you know, because by golly, do I need those views. Let's see. Let's mute my audio on my own stream. Alright, anyways. I'm gonna start the reaction bit in 1 second. Alright, let's see. Alright. Time to actually start this reaction. Now that 2 people left on YouTube and 1 person is now on Twitch. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Let's see what 46 minutes and 52 seconds of talking with Rick Beato looks like. Let's have some fun. Let me guys know if it's too quiet, by the way. Kind of how's that? Can't hear. Okay, that's definitely a predicament. Where did the audio output go? It has now decided to disappear from my
We also
screen.
went in a very good time because the rest of the year it's like gray, it's shitty and absolutely
Can you hear
I
me
mean,
now?
it's so beautiful right now.
right.
It's amazing, the temperature, everything. It's
Right.
a nice reprieve from hot Atlanta
Yeah.
this time of year.
This time of year is when people and musicians in Sweden don't write music. So it's the rest of the year when everything's just really gloomy and dark that we sit and write music.
Well, I wondered about that. So what in the winter time? Now, if it's December,
Okay, but it's a bit loud. Then I'm going to lower it to about 8 dB. There we go.
is there
should
snow?
work.
Is it snowing every
Yes.
day?
No, it could be gray shit on the ground or snow.
Okay.
But the thing that gets us is probably the amount of sun.
Okay.
Or the lack of sun, probably.
Okay.
The sun goes up at like 9 a.m. and maybe sets at 3
Okay.
p.m. So very short days, and most people, they work, you know, they're in an office
Sure.
probably from 8 to 5, so they never get to see the sun, which is terrible.
When does this start to turn around? I notice people are out all the time. You have the few people that are in town because it's a
Right.
vacation time
Yep.
now.
Well, April, May, when the sun is back and people, you know, some kind of heat, people are back and,
And I
start
forgot.
taking
I just
sweaters off
realized that I don't
and,
actually have the video up.
blossom. It happens every year a little bit in Sweden. People blossom a lot.
Is this why there's such a great music tradition here, though? Because I wanted to discover that. Why has so much great music come out of Sweden? Is the climate and the lack of sun in the wintertime when people stay in and write this great music?
Well, I think it's also because now you're interviewing me, but I think it's
help
also
it.
for a reason that the government in Sweden has always been, you know, very active with after-school activities, and you know, when I was a kid, I would go after school. I would go to like a
There we go.
you know,
Now you guys can actually
after-school
see what the heck
activity
I'm
place where they
watching.
have instruments, and sometimes in the studios, rehearsal places like so. From a very young age, it was very easy to start playing something, and they did this studio circles, they call it. They did this already like in the late 60s, 70s, and you know, that's why we got so many like, you know, Yngwie Malmsteen and all the incredible John Norum of Europe, and you know, all these incredible guitar players from one area outside Stockholm.
Yeah.
Because they just did it right over there. So I think that's a big part of it, and also the lack of sun probably in the winter, and you know, you can't really do anything. You have
Yeah.
to sit in, write some music.
Well, I'm from upstate New York, from Rochester, and the winters are really long.
Yeah.
It's always cloudy there, even in the summertime. It's beautiful in the summertime, but people stay in all winter.
Right.
And that's why I learned to play the guitar and play instruments, is for the exact same reason. So my theory is that places that have bad weather have great music.
Yes, that's right.
So I'm testing that, although I'm coming when it's beautifully sunny every day here.
Right.
It's cool
Let us
outside.
talk about your
Yeah?
YouTube
Okay.
channel. You're probably one of the bigger YouTube, like music-related YouTube channels right now. And obviously, I don't think anyone has missed your videos with your son Dylan and about perfect pitch, but obviously also your interviews and your what makes the song great. But also something that really hits close to home for me is that you're doing a lot of videos on the music industry and the music business and the importance of, or non-importance of, labels nowadays. And it's for me incredibly giving that you're talking a lot about this. This is something I talk about a lot as well. I'm trying to represent the smaller artists and
Yes.
the up and coming artists, and trying to give advice to to my friends that are watching my channel and also want to start a band or release an album, release singles, because it's never been as easy to record yourself and do all of that. And so I must I want to thank you for a lot of that. Sometimes it feels like I'm doing it myself, and I did it very early, but sometimes it's good to have someone that's just reaffirming everything you say, and that's just something I really appreciate. And but I figured we would maybe, if it's okay with you, talk a little bit about the perfect pitch.
Okay.
I watched a fair bit of videos. Your son Dylan has perfect pitch, and you've demonstrated this in viral videos, and it's amazing to see those videos. And I remember seeing them that's incredible. Why can't I have that? And then I watched the video, why I can't have that? And it's I have a little questions. Why can't I have perfect pitch? In short.
Well, I think this is just my theory that perfect pitch is developed when kids or babies are learning language in the first 9 months of life.
Yes.
When they're in the first 9 months of life, babies are can hear the phonemes of all languages spoken on Earth. There's 2,200 phonemes. These are parts that make up syllables.
Yes.
Out of the 6,500 languages that are spoken, and they can recognize those up until about 9 months or so, and then they become culturally bound listeners, is a term that this linguistics expert Patricia Kuhl does some fantastic videos that I've watched on YouTube, because I thought a lot about this. Why is this? And so my theory is that they learn it as if it's a native language, as if it's native music fluency.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, why can
Ola
everyone
is totally
speak
just a
English
big
here
fanboy. Every
in
time he
Sweden?
interviews somebody
Right.
here, he's just a big fan.
So, because you've been doing it since you were kids, probably.
He's like
right?
me when I meet him at NAMM, just like.
So I think it has something to do with that. And
Which
there's
is really
a higher
good. It's
incidence
really
of
cool.
people that
I enjoy
speak
it.
tonal languages, Mandarin,
Yep.
for example, that have a 30% higher incidence of perfect pitch.
Okay.
Because the tones are important to the language.
All right. If I would like to learn Mandarin,
Yep.
and and feel that maybe I can work on my these phonemes.
Yep.
Yes. I was about to say something else. No, but there's basically no way of me learning this. This is something babies forget then, or do they just?
Yeah, babies forget. I
Yes,
mean, this is my
okay.
theory.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if we can test that, but it's funny because my kids all went to a language immersion school and learned Mandarin.
Okay.
This was just a random thing. They
Had to pick something.
Yeah, and my youngest daughter, Layla, who's 10, she's still in this Mandarin school, and every other day is all in Mandarin.
Wow.
And it's very difficult for me to say these words that they say, and I think I'm pronouncing them exactly like they are, but they just laugh at me. My daughters will laugh at me, and I say, "No, I'm saying it right." No, you're not even close. I just can't hear those things. So I think it's related to that.
Yeah. So what you said in the video was that in this first age of 1 to 2 years old, that you should challenge the baby with unpredictable music. So I guess like jazz is a very unpredictable type of music.
Yeah, Alan
but-
Holdsworth.
Alan Holdsworth, exactly. But my question is, I play a lot of death metal for my kids.
Okay.
Do you think that that's unpredictable enough?
It could be.
Could be.
It depends, you know. It can be rhythmically. If it's, you know,
Right.
if you're playing Meshuggah, whatever you're playing, that's rhythmically. A lot of progressive metal has. I think that it's not just pitches. I think that the playing things that are in odd time signatures or that have a lot of chromaticism
Right.
in really really important.
To keep the mind open. Or?
Yeah, anything that's unpredictable
Yeah.
for the babies. I
Right.
think it's really an important thing.
Wow. So another question I have in regards to that, because I've watched a fair bit of your videos, the making of like Pantera, for instance. You're talking about the song Walk, and this thing about perfect pitch, obviously, you know, you also talk about Beethoven having perfect pitch, and a lot of like Mozart and everyone, like Beethoven was deaf.
Yeah.
But he wrote music still. I mean, you have to have something in your
Yeah.
in your head to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But is it tied to a specific tuning then, like 440? Like, so
You know, it's interesting because I know a bunch of people with perfect pitch that
Yeah.
I've met over the years, and I had two assistants in the past that had perfect pitch, two different people in a row.
Okay.
One of them, if something was out of tune, it literally made them sick. The other one,
Out of tune of 440. even.
out of tune of 440, it really made them.
Oh, that's interesting.
Feel
If it-
unease.
Yeah,
That's really weird.
unease. And the other one, it didn't bother at all. With Dylan, it does not bother him at all. If I have this pump organ in my studio, you pedal it and play
Yeah.
notes, and it's a quarter step sharp. So if I play an A, and when Dylan was, he won't ever answer anything anymore about that. But I was like, "What note is this, Dylan?" "Oh, it's A, B flat."
Yeah.
That's it. It's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what do you mean?" He goes, "Well, it's part of both."
Yeah.
He just hears it like that. It's not.
Because why I mentioned Pantera is that they tune to 425 hertz. Did you have a problem with, like, when you were not analyzing that song, that you maybe, like,
There's a lot of tunes that I've analyzed that
Yeah.
are not in pitch. Black Hole Sun is
Yeah.
about 450 something. I
Right.
mean, it's almost a quarter step. It's pretty much a quarter step sharp. Obviously,
Black
Van
Hole Sun's a
Halen. A
quarter
lot of
step
Van Halen
sharp?
songs are
That's
out of
interesting.
pitch. A lot. I mean, honestly, a lot of the songs that I do are not in standard 440.
and also
Sorry.
a lot of the old tapes were
I'm
kind
trying
of
to
swayed
do
a
my
little
best
bit,
to
so they were
actually
always
react
kind
to
of out of
this
tune.
video,
Yes.
and it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah, the pitch
Yeah.
thing is
this is great.
for
Listening to
videos
perfect
is-
pitch, talking about perfect pitch. Ola's
I-
got a great question about it.
have to spend time getting the stuff in tune, and it's a pain to do that. I still haven't found a good system for that. I want to have a tune. I mean, you can tune things now on your phone or whatever.
Right.
You can get a tuner, but
Yeah.
it's difficult to find the right tuning.
Yeah. Like when I learned guitar, like mid '90s, started playing guitar, and started listening because of Nirvana.
Yep.
You talk a lot about Nirvana and then Pantera and Dream Theater and all these death metal bands and all that. And back then, I mean, this was when internet started, but there weren't any information on how to play these songs. What do you do? Well, you listen to the album and you start like tabbing, or you start just analyzing and playing after the track.
Yeah.
So, with that said, now are we losing? Since all of this information is so available for everyone and all the kids out there, which is great. Like, if you want to learn a song today, it's so easy, right? Are we deleting a little bit of this ear training of perfect pitch because of this?
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I've never
Really?
thought about people that have that I know, younger musicians that I know. I've thought about this topic a lot, if people's ears, because everything is so available. It's not just, they go on YouTube and they see the actual person that
Yes.
play the riffs, and it's tabbed out a million other places.
Yeah.
But the
Just
fact
think
that you can
about
actually
that.
see where somebody played the stuff has got to affect kids' ears. I think a lot of people's style in the past came from trying to figure out things and getting it wrong.
Right.
And that's a really important thing that I think
Because
is,
people had no idea how to tap or how
No.
to do this pinch harmonics or.
Yeah. When I interviewed Nuno Betancourt and we were talking about hearing Eruption for the first time, it was like, what is that?
Yeah.
We had no idea.
Right.
Just no idea. Like, what is that? And the fact that you just couldn't look it up nowadays, it's like, oh, I know what that is. There's
Yeah.
a million people that know what that is.
Yep.
But to hear it on a record, it just blew my mind. I like that topic, though. all
That is
about
a good
that.
topic.
Yeah.
No, it's not only because I feel as a YouTuber, I'm not going to say that you're old, but I feel older too. Like compared to a lot of Instagram guitar players, for instance.
Sure.
I'm still a guitar player, and I'm on Instagram. I still, try and play Dream Theater solos and all that. And I feel that, a lot of these kids are amazing guitar players.
Yeah.
And incredible skill, and incredibly fast. And it puts me at unease sometimes. I'm okay with it now, and I'm older. I don't really care that much. I'm a little too old to have gone through the time where I could just look up a tab online. So I'm still kind of stuck that I have to listen to the old albums to learn the songs.
Right.
And it's also it triggers something in me that I think is good for me, and it's good for my songwriting, and it's good for my lead writing. I'm not locked into the tabs a little bit, because you talk a lot about theory, and obviously you've gone through school and you learned classical music and all of that. You've been conducting orchestras and stuff like that. I have absolutely no theory in me, like except for the different modes of a major scale and pentatonic scale, because I think that sometimes that limits me a little bit. How do where do I go with this? Like, how do I go to the next level with this, or do I have to?
I don't know if you have to. It depends on what you want to do.
Exactly.
I learned things on my own first, and then I learned what the theory was later, because I went to school for music.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what things were called until people told me what they were called. I just kind of made up my own ideas of. I didn't know what modes were, but I knew what the major scale was and all the different positions. And they're like, oh, that's called Dorian here if you play off the second note. Oh, really? Wow, that's cool. I like the sound of that, or whatever it is. And I learned. I remember I had a friend that showed me the 5 positions of the pentatonic scale up the neck. I didn't know which one was the root or anything like that, but I knew how the positions connected.
Yeah.
So, and then knowing it didn't necessarily make me any better or worse.
Yeah.
But you can communicate about music to people. That's the one.
Yes.
That's the one good thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that people, with Dylan, people think that I played him notes and told him this or that. I realized Dylan had perfect pitch when he was 3, just from him singing along to things, and they were in the right key. And then all of a sudden it was like, I wonder if he has perfect pitch.
Yeah.
Then I played him this note B flat, and he's like, oh, it's Star Wars, because it starts on a big
Right.
B flat major chord. It's like, and then I just taught him the names of the things. Then if I told him, hey, anytime you hear C, E, and G, it's C major. Okay, fine. And then I just had to tell him one time.
Siblings have
And that was it.
pitch.
I just taught him.
Because Rick is
When
telling
Nate's
the story right now of how he found out that Dylan had perfect pitch when he was 3, because he could sing in pitch with songs so well. And then one day he played a B flat note, and he's like, "What note is this?" And he's like, "Oh, it's Star Wars, because it starts on a B flat major chord." I thought, I wonder if one of my siblings has perfect pitch. That's really cool.
I wonder if he has perfect pitch.
Yeah.
Then I played him this note B flat, and he's like, oh, it's Star Wars, because it starts on a big
Right.
B flat major chord. It's like, and then I just taught him the names of the things. Then if I told him, hey, anytime you hear C, E, and G, it's C major. Okay, fine. And then I just had to tell him one time, and that was it. I just taught him
The names for the Star Wars and for the
Yeah, I just taught him. I taught him the
movies and-
names of the 12 notes,
Yeah.
and he already knew the sound of them. So he was like, it's like, oh, this is red, this is green, but he doesn't think in colors, but he knows exactly what these things are instantly.
right, because
So-
that's also something you say, is that when you have perfect pitch, you basically see it as colors almost. So it's as natural as seeing a color, for
Yes,
instance.
yes.
It's just immediate.
Immediate recognition, yeah.
And that you also got a lot of people trying to convince that it's still possible to learn
Yes.
perfect pitch today as an adult.
Yeah.
Because that was also the thing about your videos, that a lot of people were like, no,
People
no.
get mad at me about
Yes.
that. But the fact of the matter is, relative pitch
Yeah.
is faster than perfect pitch
Yeah.
if you're really good at relative
So relative
pitch.
pitch is that someone listens and analyzes and then
Correct.
yes, okay.
Yeah. And most of the greatest musicians in the world have great relative pitch.
Yes.
They don't have perfect pitch. Perfect pitch is actually unusual.
Yeah.
So, so it's not anything that's needed, and but it's just a fascinating phenomenon, I think.
Yeah.
Like, why do some people have that and other people don't? But I never noticed that Van Halen. I noticed when I was figuring out Van Halen tunes or Jimi Hendrix tunes or Beatles tunes. I mean, everything was out of tune when I was growing up. And you had a record player that wasn't playing at the right pitch either, right speed. So it's like you're always tuning your guitar to whatever the thing is. And I think that was a great thing.
Yeah.
Great for your ear.
So can you tell the audience a little bit about your past, like what, in a quick manner? Obviously, you've done so much, and like from school to bands, and you're producing, and like you said, early 2000s, and you've been producing bands and new metal bands, and just a quick little roundup of your past, basically.
Yeah. So I graduated from high school in 1980. I went to college. I went one semester as a history major, then I went into music. I was like, I don't want to do history. And I got an undergrad in classical bass and a master's in jazz guitar. And then I got out of college and I got a college teaching gig for 5 years where I taught jazz studies. And after about 5 years, I was like, okay, I don't want to do this the rest of my life. And I started playing in bands and writing songs, and I got a publishing deal with Polygram Publishing in 1992. And then I moved to Atlanta in 94. And then I taught guitar lessons at a music store from 94 to 99. I taught 12,000 guitar lessons.
Wow.
And all I did was teach songs of all the current bands. I would teach anything anybody wanted to learn, teach entire records. I think the reason that my YouTube channel is done well is because of those 12,000 lessons, teaching every song off every record imaginable. Metal records, rock records, grunge records, you know, pop records, whatever, R&B. And I started playing in a band, got signed, but that got signed, made a record, label got bought out, got dropped. And in the meantime, I started producing, and which was in probably 97 or so, 98, and I felt like I loved that more than being in a band.
Yes.
I felt like a natural, you know, I just loved making recordings, making albums. And I did that really up until I started my channel in 2016.
Okay.
And produced, like I said, mainly metal bands, but all different types of music really, but I would say mostly metal bands. And people are like, why do you have so many 100-watt heads? You think it's like, dude, I produce metal bands all the time. You know.
That's cool. It's funny that you say that, because my career is a little bit similar in the same that I had a band playing, and we had a record label. Everything's fine and dandy, and the record label filed for bankruptcy like 2 weeks after the release of the album. And this was later, though. This was in 2007. But that really sparked something with me. I've been grinding like all these years, playing guitar. You know, you want to make it as a band. You know, all these record labels, like demos here and there. You know, listen to my shit, man, and going playing live all over the place. And you know, this hunger I had to you know, I want to be a musician.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want to do it for the rest of my life. And that whole thing where that record label was gone, and you know, that was basically it for the band. And you know, I just felt a big, you know, I just felt that everyone sucks at that point.
Yeah.
The label sucks, and you know, my bandmates, they don't do as much as me, and you know, it's like if everyone would have worked as much, maybe we could have gone somewhere. But it felt like I was doing it. I wanted so much more than everyone else, and I started on this venture of becoming a producer, because obviously, like, okay, fuck you, I'm gonna produce myself, you know, and I'm gonna record myself, because I mean, then I only have myself to blame, and I don't have to trust people. That it's a very narcissistic worldview, but you know, I was just really tired of working with musicians, and I had a studio, like I told you, in Stockholm. I just couldn't record bands there because they were terrible, and you know, they didn't want what I wanted, so I could never make it as a producer. But it's but at the same, you know, that's also how I started my YouTube channel. You know, I started recording myself, and you know, trying to understand myself. I've always been recording myself since, you know, Cakewalk, and I had a Fostex, recorder back in the
X15.
something like that during the 90s.
Nice.
Something like ass.
That's
but,
cool.
And I started with, so I've always been recording
tape
myself,
recorder?
and I just felt like, okay, now it's time
Little cassette.
to
What is it?
to move
4-track
on
or
and
something?
become the self-sustained musician,
That's a
so I don't have to
Fostex
deal with
H15.
other people. And that's something that you are talking a lot about on your channel,
Fostex
which is the
X15.
part about the labels not really being needed today, and how you can do much of it all yourself.
Okay, yeah, it's
So-
this thing.
Question to you. If I have a lot in my audience that are watching this right now
Fostex Vintage
that have
X15 multi-track
aspirations
cassette
of
recorder,
releasing
4-track,
something.
okay.
Because
It's
I
a
think that
4-track.
for a lot of
It's on
people,
Reverb for
it's
like
a,
$273.
it's a goal for a lot of people just to release something. They have music in them, they can record, and they can use Superior Drummer, and they can even use Easy Bass if you don't have a bass player, or
Right.
people that just wanted to get an outlet
Oh, there's a
and want to
mistake
be
in the
heard.
thumbnail. Oh, okay.
What should they do today to get heard?
They should do what we're doing. Essentially make videos, get on social media and post their music and develop an audience that way. I think that there's never been an easier time than now to do that. You have worldwide distribution through YouTube, through Instagram, through TikTok, through any of the social media platforms, Facebook, and instant worldwide distribution. And if your music is good and it connects with people, you can be successful. And you don't have to depend on anyone else. You can write as many songs and put them out there as you want.
No one's dictating.
No one's
if it's
dictating
bad or
anything.
not.
That's right. The audience has the vote, and will vote with their eyes and their ears, with their attention.
Yeah.
So it's I think it's an amazing time to be a musician right now. The best time ever.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about some A&R person and playing a good showcase here or there, whatever, all the ridiculous stuff that everybody used to do. And I just, if I was a musician now, wait, I am a musician nowadays. If I was trying to make it with my own music now, I would be doing basically exactly what I'm doing, but I would actually have it focused on. Would be doing nowadays. If I was trying to make it with my own music now, I would be doing basically exactly what I'm doing, but I would actually have it focused on my own music.
Right. So, even though you say that it's a very good time right now, what do you do about the saturation? How do you get out to, there's a lot of music being released on Spotify today. The thing why I'm asking is because I talked about this, I had clinics and workshops a long time ago. I talked a lot about this, and it felt very easy then. But now, it's, a lot of people are doing this, and it's very saturated. And how does one reach out today, man?
That's a great question.
Even if you have like incredible music, I feel like maybe I'm not saying I have, but like people with incredible music.
It's difficult to be.
It is.
It's difficult to be found.
Yeah.
There was a YouTube video I watched years ago. There's a channel called Veritasium. It's a science channel, but he talked about YouTube. The amount of YouTube just as
he's
a
talking
platform.
about the
And this goes for every
Veritasium YouTube
platform. The,
platform.
video,
Yeah.
the people
That's-
that you
that's a
know
good
are
video.
the
I
tip
like
of the
that
tip
one.
of the tip of the tip of an iceberg, essentially. You're pretty much ignorant to everything that's on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you think about how many videos are uploaded just to YouTube every day, and you're talking about Spotify, all the songs, how do you get noticed? Well, in the old days, the gatekeepers were the major labels.
Yep.
The gatekeepers were the radio station DJs or the program directors that could decide. At big stations, K-Rock in LA, for example, if you got played on K-Rock and you weren't signed, you were a rock band, you get a record deal, or you could have a successful record. The gatekeepers now are the audience, right?
Which is a lot better.
Which is a lot better, right? So if your songs connect with people, you can put out. We could write a song right now and put it out. If no one knew who we were, and it could get a million plays on TikTok if it was the right song in one day. Because people ask me, should I put out an EP? Should I put out single songs? Should I put out a full record? I always say you put out a full record, because it's something you can tour behind. And I think a mistake that a lot of guitar players, let's just talk about guitar players. When I think about my friends that are in the progressive metal community,
Right.
like Tosin and
Yes.
Pliny and
Marty Friedman.
these guys that are Tim Henson with
Yep.
Polyphia, they are making albums and then going out and touring behind the albums that they make.
Right.
That is still the same as it's always been. I think actually making full-length albums and touring behind them is the way to do it. And then find people that are like-minded and just band together and do that. All those guys are friends with each other and they tour together, and it's amazing. I just saw Dream Theater with Animals opening and Devin Townsend opening, and it was a great bill. 3 bands working that they're all friends. It's it's really a great thing.
The community.
The community,
Yeah.
yes, find a community. But there's kind of 2 different questions. Like I thought at first you're going to say, what if something's not the right time? There's a great Swedish band, Refused, and they did their record Shape of Punk to Come in 1998, which was way ahead of its time, and people that were in the hardcore community did not like that record.
Yeah.
Yet in retrospect, when I heard that record, I thought, this is unbelievable. It was such a it was so ahead of its time that people that liked them didn't get it.
Right.
And that's kind of a different thing. What do you do with a record like that?
Yeah.
That kind of doesn't hit their audience. When artists try to change their style too much, that's always another. It's like YouTubers. You try and do something new. My YouTuber friends, hey, I tried a video on something else that's like, and it
bombed.
didn't work. It bombed. Just like, well, make more of them. That's what I always say.
Yeah.
You got to make more of them because it's a different audience
Yeah.
that would be into them.
Yeah.
So, if you were to do country songs or something, Ola,
That would probably be good.
I would definitely be into that.
That's awesome. So, what does a typical day of Rick Beato look like today? I mean, you were producing do you do any producing
I
still?
don't do
or-
any producing.
You
no.
don't, like full-time YouTube now?
Yeah. My typical day, I get up at 6 o'clock, 6:30 or so. And my kids are in school. My wife and I make breakfast and lunch for the kids, and then I drive one of the kids to school, and she'll drive the other ones to school. And I come home, and I usually start working at about probably 9 o'clock in the morning or so. And then I work till midnight, and that's like every day. No, just kidding.
Now you said you're not upload since you're on tour. You don't upload that much, but before you're uploading like 3 or 4 videos every week.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of content. Like,
Yeah.
how do you sit and come up with all this content? You seem to have a lot of knowledge and a lot to tell. Like, does it come easy, or like does it feel like you really have to plan ahead for videos? Because when you speak about something, it's like you always wanted to tell it. And you're such a good storyteller in that sense that it seems like every video, it's like, okay, it's the next step. Like, it's the next story.